Welcome to another edition of the Florida Chamber's Bottom Line. I'm David Hart, Executive Vice President at the Florida Chamber, and our special guest today is Senate President Senator Gates. Thank you for being with us. Mr. President, one of the passions you've brought to the Florida Senate and really led on the last several years is education reform. And we've had the privilege to work with you on many education issues, but last year in particular, we worked with you and Senator Legg on the CAPE bill. You've accomplished a lot with that in terms of allowing more students to be prepared and through different avenues to be ready to join the workforce for jobs that really exist out there. I've heard that you might have some ideas in mind for sort of a CAPE 2.0 this year, and I wonder if you might share with us what those look like.
Well, sure. In 2008, David, there were only 803 students in Florida high schools who were learning job skills through industry certifications. 803 in the whole state. And this past year, 270,000 students were enrolled in career and professional education academies, 1,650 of them earning over 60,000 industry certifications in everything from avionics to biomedicine to diesel mechanics to welding to IT to all of the other key issues that we really need in our Florida economy. So that's a tremendous upsurge. We're on our way to being the leader in this country in preparing students for real jobs in the real economy. So this year, Speaker Weatherford and I want to double down. And we want to lift the limit on the number of career technical courses that students can take while they're in middle school, high school, or college. So that that way we will be able to prepare more students. We'd like to prepare 200,000 or 300,000 students a year for jobs that are lashed to the realities of the regional economy. We think that's the best way to make sure that, that our students and our young people are ready for the competitive jobs that are being part of the Florida growing economy.
Another area that we have in common with the House and Senate work plan, and by the way, I commend you and Speaker Weatherford for that joint plan. Had the privilege to be with you the day you rolled it out in the Capitol. And one of the things the two of you talked about was the importance of veterans to our state. And we share your goal of making sure Florida becomes known as the #1 veteran-friendly state in the country. Tell us a little bit about what's in that Veterans Omnibus package.
Well, what we're calling the Florida GI Bill will provide scholarships for our Florida National Guard members so they can attend college. They're left out of some provisions of the federal GI Bill. Providing more tuition assistance for our military and our retiring military, providing help for those members of the military who are coming out of service while they're here in Florida and they need help, they need mentoring, they need assistance, they need microloans to get into business or to get jobs. And we also want to provide as much buffering for our military bases as possible so that residential neighborhoods don't interfere with our bases, and vigorous advocacy to make sure that, that our military bases and missions are protected in Washington. We know that military families build our communities, they build our neighborhoods. We want to make it more possible for more of them to live here, to retire here, to raise their families here.
Exciting. Thank you for your leadership on that. The last area I want to raise has to do with the tax reform. The governor has proposed $500 million in tax cuts. The Florida Chamber shares that view that we ought to be looking for opportunities to improve our tax climate. And aren't we blessed right now that in Florida our economy is improved, more people are employed, and we're able to have conversations about the competition of different good ideas for different tax cuts. And I wonder if you could share with our members and our viewers a little bit about what the Senate approach might look like on tax cuts this year.
The centerpiece of the joint Senate-House plan on tax cuts is to roll back the vehicle fees that affect everybody who drives a car or a truck to school or work. We want to roll back those fees, and we think that that'll reduce taxes in a broad-based way by $250 million or more. And then the real embarrassment of riches that we have is that while in Washington they're talking about which tax to raise, in Florida, we're talking about which tax to cut. So we're looking at various approaches to cut taxes through sales tax holidays, also looking at the cutting taxes on leases. There are several other key ideas, film incentives that we have. But we want to have a $500 million tax cut. Every single dollar that we have in Tallahassee is involuntarily extracted from the cash registers and the pocketbooks of the people of Florida. And when the state is able to have slightly more revenue than we need to meet the critical needs of the state, we shouldn't think up more spending programs. We should think about ways to leave more money in the pockets of Floridians.
President Gates, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your partnership with the Florida Chamber. Thank you for joining us. And to our viewers, we'll see you next time on the Florida Chamber's Bottom Line.